chat. Here we go. We have Diaz versus CRR in a $100 best of 7. A matchup between teammates on complexity, as we have not seen CRR since Salt Mine, I believe. I want to say he participated in EU Salt Mine, if my memory serves. Or maybe we haven't. Either way, he's number 4. I'm trying to think of what his results were. It's getting late into the stream, and we've watched a lot of 1v1. But we haven't seen Diaz play CRR as far as I'm aware. And Diaz has looked like one of the best players on USC servers. And this time around, he's not even going to have to do it on USC servers. On South American servers here against his teammate CRR. Diaz has proven to be a tough matchup against everybody who has come to play him. Especially the Europeans who have tried to meet him on US East. But even when he plays US East, he's able to get around 90 ping, so he has been one of the players who has had the most success playing against US East players on their server. KV1, I would say, was the original guy who kind of blazed the trail, and he did that on 140 ping. He just played 140 ping, just truly terrible ping against these US East players, and made it work. Found a way to win heavily off the back of his kickoffs. Diaz doesn't really rely on his kickoff. He relies mostly on his wall-to-air dribble game. And hopefully he shows what I mean right here. And I would actually say he didn't, as he just fell to the ground. He did get a demo, so it wasn't the worst of possessions. As he will now start again. CRR has been a guy that I think has been long since underrated in the 1v1 scene. Despite the fact that I feel like I've mentioned he's underrated in the past. CRR is one of the best 1v1ers in the game and manages to get wins against a lot of the top players without ever seemingly getting the predictions in the chat on his side. And as I say that, I'll go ahead and check what the prediction is for this one, which is 74% Diaz. And I would actually say, considering Diaz's recent run against everybody not named Nas and not named Jorius, everyone who's not on M80, that is still a decent percentage given to CRR. CRR, a flick, trying to get a bump to extend the play. Diaz able to avoid it. CRR popped the ball over the top of him and pre-flip back on the play. And now a side flip to get it around Diaz. And I wonder if CRR thought that was already bouncing off the post. It felt like he could have rushed towards the ball and probably got it on target in time. But instead he plays it a bit slower and gets his goal all the same, as he is able to force a full boost Diaz into an awkward challenge off the back wall. And the follow-up goes into Spaniard's favor. CRR doing a decent job here against Diaz, as I imagine he'll be a little bit more out of practice in 1v1 matches. It doesn't seem to have taken him any time at all, though, to get right back to his top form. As Diaz thought about the ceiling challenge, decided to go to the ground, and the wave dash shot pops right into the crossbar and in. Traff money, thank you for the tier 1 for 25 months. It's a long time. A little over 2 years now of tier 1 in. CRR in the air dribble, waiting for this ball to fall back down to the ground after he got the beat on the challenge. Diaz is getting beat every which way right now by CRR. Not something that I think he's used to. Diaz in the orange half off the kickoff. CRR manages to get possession, get the back corner boost, get everything, and get a goal, as he punishes Diaz for following him into the corner, and is able to use all that boost to stay up above where Diaz can affect him. And now has a 6-3 lead. CRR's boost is red sparkles, pretty sure. Sparkles is a boost that many a pro use. CRR making it 7-3. Hopefully those submissions for the prediction has closed, because I have a feeling people would be dumping points on CRR now. Crimson, I forgot it's not called red. I knew red didn't sound right. I'm like, red just, they don't call anything just a color. Crimson. CRR sent into Diaz's half off the bump, as Diaz hasn't really been able to get a clean possession for many minutes now, and the first time he's had a clear touch on the ball, he sends it directly at CRR, and CRR counters it. Yeah, Diaz is wanting to go next with 1:20 left to go. It's a 5-goal lead, and it'll be a Game 1 win for CRR. They both left the match. Hopefully they know I have admin and can just end it. You should have seen that it was paused. Game number 2. Diaz and CRR in a best of 7 for $100. CRR. A surprising game number 1 for the fans who have watched Diaz take down opponent after opponents. But maybe not a big surprise for the CRR fans among us who have always been believers. Are they playing US East or SAM? They're playing SAM. No reason to play on USC servers when they're both in South America. Although it does seem like they don't have the best connection, 60 and 40. I mean, Diaz has a pretty poor SAM connection, it would seem, but it pays off well for when playing US East. So I actually do think that Diaz's location is probably preferable, if I had to guess. Maybe having 60 ping connection to RLCS servers is not great, you know, when it comes time to actually play in the RLCS. But as far as ranked, being able to reasonably play SAM and US East has to be better. Question is it worth the additional ping you have to play with in RLCS? Maybe not, since that is the most important games you play. Diaz getting the lead here as he chips this over the top of CRR. Diaz scoring is always nice because he's always rocking the Ka-chow goal explosion. Diaz not going to take the ball over to CRR's corner. Instead, started dribble from the opposite side, and he read the early challenge from CRR, and no, he was not able to finish it. I was about to talk about how Diaz never misses these, but he must not have thought of a way. He was headed towards the post. I thought surely it's Diaz. He's going to find a way to double it in. And yet it just bounces off the post and out. Diaz on the long shot from the wall. CRR able to handle it. Diaz, though, evades the demo. And now the air dribble from his back wall. The Diaz signature is actually nowhere near on target. And he misses a dash as well, which is going to result in him not getting the back corner boost. And CRR should just have a long shot. Didn't get enough power on the first touch, so Diaz will recover to get the save. Diaz again in the air, and again with a dribble that could never even pretend was being taken on target. This time, though, he stays in control of possession. CRR backflipping to catch this one and tie up the series. Diaz has always been a guy who has relied on his extreme mechanical ability in order to get these wins. And he's done so with a consistency that would never have you betting against it. That being said, it has taken him a bit to get going here. He does outplay CRR and puts this inside the nets to retake the lead. Put the video gamer. I do not know what you mean by that first time chat, I'm going to be honest. We really like to, you know, acknowledge and adhere to the request of the first-time chatters, but put the video gamer is one that I can't figure out. Have Mini Feer commentate the rest of this game. If he was around, he would absolutely be commentating. Come on, Feer, put the video gamer. Yeah, I'll get right on that. Diaz. Heading down to the ground as CRR threatens the high challenge as a reset bump. And Diaz maybe starting to return to his form, the form we're used to seeing here. So he does a great job of protecting the ball. What does Ka-chow mean to Feer? What do you mean? What does it mean to you? It's Lightning McQueen's celebratory exclamation. You always prefer strems with video gamer? Chat, if you prefer strems with video gamer, type 1 in chat. Want to see how many people understand what he's talking about and actually prefer it. Okay. Mostly everyone. Some threes who don't prefer video gamer. Diaz sees the early challenge of CRR coming. Tried to get a heavy first touch to get around him, and it didn't matter. CRR had that protected. Diaz, he's trying to punish CRR on low boost. He's not even going to go up into the air and do one of his normal air dribbles because he knows CRR is on 0, and doing so actually takes a little bit too long. It would allow CRR to grab either that midfield or the back corner. He doesn't want that. Force CRR to play on 0 and eventually find his way to get a goal. And that's exactly what he did. Your beautiful face and mustache would be too distracting. Wait a second. You understood it. I legit, what a shot from Diaz. Wait a second. Back to what Diaz is doing here. This is just run-of-the-mill stuff for Diaz normally. The musty into the crossbar, back down into his car, 115 km/h shot. But you're right. He meant face cam. He almost certainly meant face cam, and I genuinely did not think of that until another first-time chatter pointed it out. And yeah, I truly didn't get it, but that's probably what he meant. Diaz, a great bounce-back game here after CRR had people in the chat saying Diaz had Big Brother syndrome to CRR. Will he beat up on Big Brother here in game number 2? He's going to bang in an 8th goal as well. Peanut Brain Beer thought he was just playing along with the joke. No, I didn't get it, man. I actually am a 0 head. Diaz, one last air dribble bump for the road at 0 seconds when you already won the game. That's a power move. Game number 2 going to go to Diaz. Game 3. Diaz and CRR. Diaz keeping ball cam on in a sickening fashion for me, but maybe not for him. As CRR able to escape the initial attack off kickoff. Booming it away with the last bit of his boost. Diaz just missed the 100. Fortunately, CRR does not immediately punish, but Diaz just gave it to him. I don't know if he was tilted away because he had no boost left over. Or did he really just use a couple pads? Yeah, he must have been scared. I mean, he must have thought CRR was turning and diving right back on the ball, and he had to get it away. But watching from CRR's perspective, I mean, there was really no pressure on Diaz. But that all could have just been tilt from missing the 100 boost that he definitely should have been grabbing. Air dribble from Diaz, pre-jumped by CRR. Diaz sticking around. That looks like a missed zap dash from CRR. Diaz into the air. One more touch. Seemed to have it perfectly on target. Crossbar down. CRR able to stop that, but cannot keep Diaz out forever. Certainly, this is a ka-chow. CRR backed off as he pins the ball to his back wall to start his possession. Seemed like maybe it popped off a little bit harder than he would have liked, but he did a great job making something out of it. Although he does lose possession now, as Diaz takes yet another dribble targeted at the back corner as opposed to the net. And yet somehow he has found a way to make that work this time by not going as hard towards the back corner, instead landing more in the midfield, keeping the possession going. And CRR's back corner challenge does not connect. Diaz another kickoff win. CRR coming from the ceiling, and even though he did not get ball, he might have bumped Diaz off enough. Diaz a bit of a slow play as he tried to chip the ball and go for a 50 as opposed to some early power shot. Now just extending his possession out. This is one of the benefits of Diaz's game and how comfortable he feels going the whole distance of the field with air dribbles, is that he will just control the ball in the corner until you finally leave him, and when you do, he will attack you like this. Look at this shot from Diaz. He gets the reset and gets so far off the ball to the left from CRR's perspective and just slams it across the net. CRR never stood a chance. Diaz, the double jump pop is perfectly arced over the top of CRR off the kickoff. Diaz, another kickoff goal this time. Gets underneath the ball, turns it into a flick. CRR had a really hot start in this series. Seemed like not only was it maybe not going to be neck and neck, it seemed like CRR had the edge pretty heavy in the first 5 minutes, but since then, Diaz has found his normal 1v1 stride, and a lot of that comes from just spectacular aerial plays that have started connecting. What matches have there been today? Well, I recommend everybody go check them out on the YouTube. If you're watching on the YouTube now, go watch them all. 4 matches today. And not the 4 matches we thought we were going to have, but great ones all the same. Atto versus Moxie, Jack versus Jorias, and now Diaz versus CRR. And we'll finish off the day with a little Reddles versus Cosmic. Diaz seems like sometimes he just gets the reset, just trusts himself to figure it out later. This time he was not able to, and he lost control of this dribble, allowed CRR to go underneath. CRR rolling over the top of the ball. Diaz not able to punish on that low 50 despite the win, although he is going to get the ball to air dribble and punish it just moments later. And this is the Diaz we were used to. At the start of this series, we were wondering where this Diaz was. A Diaz that has elite air dribble control. A Diaz that you cannot challenge early and you cannot wait on the goal line for. It doesn't matter because he always finds a way around. That was not the Diaz we had for the first 5 minutes. And when that's not there, it's not clear where Diaz is going to go. But it's back now, so we don't have to worry about it. And he is using it to great effect in game number 3. But CRR going to keep himself within striking distance. Fake kickoff from Diaz. Works as well as he could have hoped. Now going to one of his classic dribbles across the whole field. Ball cam pushing him to look back towards his own nets. Something that would immediately result in my brain completely shutting down. And yet it's never an issue for Diaz as he tries to go for a high full-footer dribble and can't double it down underneath, but it doesn't really matter as long as he's held on to this possession and wasting the final moments in his control. It should be a game 3 win. Diaz, the musty over the top of the early challenge this time. 8-4. CRR went to the ceiling and decided to bail on attacking early. Diaz going to take the series lead. A best of 7 for $100. Slightly in favor of the Brazilian. Game at number 4. A double octane matchup. Or it was a double octane matchup, right? Just remembering, I think Diaz switched to Fennec. But CRR has been... I don't know, dude. At this point, there's so much swapping back and forth, but I'm pretty sure CRR has been committed to the Octane for a long time. I'm pretty sure I remember him dabbling at least a little bit in Fennec. But I believe he is a primary Octane kind of guy. Diaz avoiding the bump on the back wall. He's Fennec curious. I just have scars from the Seiko situation. So now I just refuse to mention what car anybody might use. But I do think CRR is mostly in the Octane. Diaz, what a nice outplay. The little ceiling pinch, or ceiling double really. It wasn't exactly a pinch. Make it 200, says Anonymous. I can't believe an anonymous donation for $100. Chat, if that was you who just donated, type 1 in chat so we can thank you. Appreciate the $100 donation from Anonymous, who wants to make it a $200 prize for Diaz and CRR. And I see we have another situation where one person must have many accounts in chat, because quite a lot of ones. CRR faked that he was not going to challenge to the ceiling, turned back on, and stole the ball away. I kind of want to see it from Diaz's perspective. Oh, I didn't switch over fast enough, but I wonder if he got fooled, thinking CRR wasn't going to attack early and started a sequence that was not going to protect the ball. CRR not able to score quickly on this kickoff. At least not yet, as he's going to make it awkward for Diaz. Diaz handles it well. Not only does he make the save, sets himself up to grab his own back corner boost and steal CRR's. Now has 0 left over and is trying to decide whether or not he wants to stay on the ball and pressure it or leave for some boost. Ultimately, he did stick around, forced Diaz into the air. Now should finally have been able to reset on that midfield 100. Another ceiling challenge from CRR. And you might be watching him thinking that CRR is going crazy. What is he doing? Why is he challenging from the ceiling? This is so hard to do. Isn't he just going to allow Diaz so many different free goals? And the reality is that not doing this against Diaz also feels like you're allowing free goals. If you just try and wait on the ground and figure it out later, Diaz just beats you. So you have to try and stop him as early as possible. And CRR seems to have made that decision. He finds himself down 2-1. Little does Feer know, every single account here is actually his mom's, just trying to support her son's dream. I love you, Feer - mom. Interesting. Well, thanks, Mom. Hey, Mom, if that's you in chat, I bet you would just love to gift some subs, wouldn't you? There'd be no better way to basically prank me by supporting me by just gifting a ton of subs. Oh, you would get me really good. Old Feer is my favorite son. Oh, wow. Even you, Mom? Even you? No smiley face. Oh, Mom, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the 5 gifted, Mom. I always knew you would do that. Diaz up 4-1 in game number 4 as he chains some wall dashes together to get back to this ball. CRR in and out to make the save. Diaz forced up to not allow the long shot. He will be able to grab 100 boost, and he is going to pre-jump again. Diaz trying to pop this ball straight up to see if he can get it above the early challenge. Does not want to add any forward momentum to make it easier on CRR. CRR, did he just 50 that straight in? He basically did. He's going to follow it up and guarantee it. But he has gotten the best of his early challenges here in this moment. As he is starting to hone them in. Hello, Dad here. I am so proud of you. You have accomplished more than I could ever imagine. But shave the stash. Keep up the good work, son. My dad would never. He loves the stash. My dad used to rock a stash himself. CRR down 2 with a minute left to go. Not a terrible position. It's been a bit of a low-scoring game. It allows CRR to be within striking distance here. As Diaz lobbing the power shot. Just forcing CRR up to make a save and not allowing him to gain possession. CRR wanted to be a pest there on the attacking back wall. No clean control for either one of these guys. That favors Diaz, and eventually he gets his shot. And CRR is down to go next. 22 seconds left to go. Bit of a low-scoring one, but this one does secure it. CRR cannot get up to stop it. Got a decent touch, but not enough. He'll go next. Diaz 3 straight after the initial CRR win, but it's a best of 7. One more for him to take the $200 prize. Forgot I need to let them know. Game number 5. Diaz and CRR. CRR sticking with his ceiling early challenge game against the Diaz dribbles. Pays off this time, at least momentarily. As Diaz looks to starve CRR out of boost again. Trying to send CRR high. Pull out all the boost he has to make these early saves. And eventually break him down in the ensuing possession. That has been the Diaz MO. But CRR escapes this time. Now a dribble of his own. Probably better that he didn't get power on that Musty and instead stuck around with the ball near him so he could 50 it and protect it. As he dodges the Diaz bump pressure, but even though he survived, he was not able to get back into the play. Diaz survives as well and scores the first goal. You keep forgetting your password, so you have to make a new account every time. Gotcha. And you don't cancel your old Amazon accounts. You just make new ones. Diaz letting the ball bounce off the sidewall. Low dribble. Now he resets. And this is what's so special about Diaz. Nobody else in the ones game is as willing to fully reset to his own back wall as Diaz is. So sometimes when other players struggle to keep the possession going because they need to find a way to cut the ball back on target, keep it relevant without giving up possession, and they can't quite do it, oftentimes in those moments, Diaz just leaves. He just leaves and goes all the way back to his back wall where he feels completely comfortable air dribbling the length of the field. And now he's able to find his second goal, avoiding CRR and placing this about as well as you could possibly ask for. Crossbar down, post, and in, and a 2-0 lead. Diaz maybe set his controller down for a moment, or an intentional delay on his kickoff. Works out either way, as CRR's dribble, unfortunately, does eventually score, so maybe it doesn't work out either way. Even though he didn't immediately get scored on, CRR does find a way. Very impressive dribble. Diaz booming another shot top shelf. Force CRR to make the save and send the ball away. And then attack again from the blue half. That's what Diaz has been trying to do, but CRR actually covered the distance and has not allowed Diaz to get any boost, but the fake sent CRR completely out of position despite the fact that Diaz was on 0. He hook shot this. CRR was ready to go steal that midfield boost if that's where Diaz was going to go. And instead, it was all a fake, and CRR fell for it. Diaz turning back in field. Getting his third goal. CRR, an interesting bump play. You don't see it happen this way very often, but the ball was already headed on target after this chip, and so CRR chased him down and bumped him off the single jump. CRR has to double jump to prevent the early shot off the kickoff, so Diaz is able to slide underneath, take all the boosts on the map. CRR swinging wide to the opposite 100. And Diaz didn't really get that dribble going solid. What a shot from CRR, who just absolutely ripped one from midfield. 131 km/h volley at Diaz, even though he gets a touch on. Can't do anything to stop. Regarding M80, I think it's safe to say a sacrifice needs to be made to get past quarterfinals, so I propose you wager up the stash. A promise to shave it using your Manscaped kit if the curse breaks. Might just do it. Do we need to sacrifice the stash for the sake of M80? Why have a shaving kit if you're not going to use it? You could shave everything else that isn't just the stash. CRR wanted the power slide cut to get Diaz to miss. Diaz did not miss. He stole the ball away and left CRR just staring at the net in a standstill. Banana-na-na. Thank you for the brand new Prime. Appreciate you. Banana, if you do happen to be just another account from my mom, let me know. Hey, champ, it's mom. Remember when you found that 4-leaf clover behind the garage at 3:14 p.m. on May 23rd, 2018? The same determination helped you acquire all those followers on your streaming channel, become a top gamer so quickly. I think CR just hit a nasty shot, but my eyes are on the chat. 1 second. Let me make sure it was indeed insane. Diaz could not make the save. In and out. And became a top gamer so quickly. I'm so proud of you. And don't forget, you still owe me a rematch in our epic 12-hour Monopoly marathon. Okay, Mom. Whatever you say. As long as you keep giving me primes, I'll keep coming over every once in a while. CRR. Ooh, air dribble reset. Wow, how did he find a way to both get this over the top of Diaz and still underneath the crossbar? Diaz, the soft touch on the backflip. His perfect precision. And now a 6-5 lead for CRR. Diaz 1 win away. Is CRR going to be able to bring it back? Or could this be the final 38 seconds? CRR to the ceiling for the potential game winner. Diaz off the back wall. Goes soaring underneath. Oh, sorry, from the back wall. Okay, yeah, it was back wall. Thought about ceiling for a second. Decided to transition back down. Thought he had shown high enough that CRR was going to go low underneath him. Seemed to be how he was trying to recover back down. A clean kickoff win as they race for the midfield boost. Can Diaz tie it right back up? The hook shot is good! CRR, I think he felt like he was in position to make this save. My connection to the SAM server actually showed a ghost hit for CRR. Oh, wait. It just showed the ghost hit again. But it still had blue trail, so it wasn't an actual hit. I don't know. That was weird. Either way, Diaz going to tie it up in a wall to air dribble to end it all. Diaz likes to be in this position. What a strong flick! He takes the flick at just about ground height and still manages to get it past CRR. He just booms it into the right post. CRR forces it in, and it's a 1-goal lead with 9 seconds left to go. CRR forcing the kickoff left, has midfield boost. Diaz gets one touch on the ball, has to back off though. CRR has the carry, goes low 50. He's maniacal. What is CRR thinking? With 0 seconds, he needs to keep the ball up, and yet he still goes for this low 50 that feels like it's impossible to keep the ball up. Somehow that ball doesn't graze any grass on the way in. And it's 8-8 as we head to overtime. Fake kickoff from Diaz. CRR early challenge. And I tell you what, he is stuck to the early challenge all series long. It has been necessary against Diaz, but Diaz read it. He pulled off the dribble, and CRR went soaring over the top. GG's. Thanks for playing. CRR's not in the game. I'll just type it to nobody. Diaz will win it 4-1. Shout out for both these guys for coming to play.